What's up, boys and girls? It's time for another snake video from Papa John. Alright, so today I wanted to do something that I haven't really seen much content about on YouTube or, to be honest, any content creation platform or educational platform for false water cobras. So I'm part of this false water cobra group on Facebook, which I joined when I was looking for a false water cobra to get. And that's how I ended up getting Winston. I met the leader of the Facebook group. He's really reliable. If you ever want a false water cobra, let me know. I can invite you to the group or send you his way, something like that. But he's reliable and he's just great to talk to and get any information from. His name is Kyle Wilson. He's helped a lot of people out with false water cobras and he breeds them all the time. He gets pretty decent clutches every year, and within a couple of years he will probably have some either het lavender or full lavender clutches. Definitely something to keep in mind if you're ever interested in the species, especially after this video. My main topic that I wanted to go over for this video is, can a false water cobra be a beginner snake? Whether that means to you a beginner snake is their first snake, or like I have a ball python or a corn snake and I want something different. So hopefully I can answer that question for you in this video. So the question that I put in the group is, do you think a false water cobra can be a beginner snake? Why or why not? I have gotten a bunch of great responses. Most of the responses that I agree with the most are the ones that say it can be whatever type of snake you want it to be, whether it's beginner or advanced, like intermediate. Just do your research. I have one response saying, I definitely say not your first snake. They can be a handful sometimes until you kind of tame them. Definitely a snake that's going to bite you a few times. Their habit is a little more complicated than, say, your ball python or even your typical boa. So then I actually had somebody in the comments put a rebuttal against their response about keeping false water cobras and the biting and everything like that. They had said, it's not definitely a snake that's going to bite you. So that isn't accurate. Not without trying, mine has never bit me. As long as you're reaching in there with your hand and you watch for the probe bites, you're fine. Chances are pretty good you won't get bit, in my experience. However, every snake has a different personality. I'm sure there are some more mellow and some more defensive than mine. I kind of agree with the rebuttal to the argument, the initial one. A definite biting snake isn't accurate. I've only taken one or two bites from Winston, and I can remember the first one was the day that I got him. It was probably because I was holding him incorrectly, to be honest. I had just gotten him. I had him out for a few minutes. He was just figuring things out, and he gave me like a little tiny gnaw on my finger. Not a big deal, but they are mildly venomous, and you need to remember that, in my opinion. You should always keep that in mind if you're thinking about getting one, and when you do have one, to minimize the risks. And I can get to that point a little later on. So then I had other responses saying, I'd say it can perfectly be a first snake for anyone who does their research and know what they're getting into. If they know they can get bitten, the effects of envenomation, and the size/husbandry for a good setup, I don't see why a false water cobra would be harder to keep than another species. Then I had somebody that strongly disagrees and strongly doesn't recommend a false water cobra for a beginner or new keeper of snakes. They had said, while they do admit their husbandry isn't really any more complicated than many other species, and in fact might be less so, they just don't recommend it because they say most beginning keepers lack the confidence and handling skills to safely control a powerful fast snake that could exceed 6 feet in length and has one hell of a set of teeth. They do have a set of teeth, and they can give you a good bite if they want to. But most of the time, if you're being careful, you're handling them correctly, you won't really run into many problems with them, from my personal experience. I do want to get to his point of how they are a powerful, fast snake and how they could exceed 6 feet. The false water cobra is one of the most active snakes I've ever seen, and while I do only have 2 snakes, I've been working with reptiles for most of my life. If you check out false water cobras compared to a python or a corn snake or garter snakes, things like that, they are very fast, even in their own tanks, and they do get over 6 feet in length. You definitely need to put in the work of handling them every so often, every few days, spending time with them, getting them used to you, so that they don't just think that they can do whatever they want and going everywhere. He continues to say, additionally, they're also less likely to fully grasp that even though their venom is not medically significant, someone with an allergy or some other mitigating health factor could end up with serious complications from a bite. This is another thing that I was getting to earlier that you need to pay a bit of attention to. If you have any allergy risks, things like eczema or any like blood conditions, because they do have mild venom. And while they may not envenomate you every time they bite you, since they are a rear-fanged snake, the venom can still get into you, and if you get an allergic reaction or anything happens that you get some type of reaction to the venom, then it could go from the lowest degree of maybe some swelling and itching to even ending up in a hospital depending on your condition. I'm not going to go over every comment in this video. This comment says, technically mine is my first snake. I love snakes and have never owned one until my false water cobra. That said, I did a lot of research and was prepared for having to put in a lot of work before a trust was built between us, and accepting that could mean bites. The main topic that I have hit, or the main point that these people have hit in every single comment, is that you need to do your research, because they are not like your typical python or corn snake or garter snake or anything like that. They're a mildly venomous snake. They are diurnal, so they'll be active during the day, which is pretty cool if you have ever seen ball pythons. Louis is always sleeping when I'm recording videos or doing anything else, because he is a nocturnal snake, which means that he sleeps during the day, but he's awake at night. False water cobras, like I said, they're going to be mildly venomous. They can grow anywhere from 6 to 8 feet, sometimes even exceeding 9 feet, but those are usually just females, and very large females, because the females are going to be larger than the males. While they do take a lot of maintenance, they are a lot of fun and will get you really passionate about snakes. If you are one of the people that are kind of against feeding a snake live or frozen mice, they're a great snake to have for that, because they have an appetite that I have never seen before, and most people are fascinated with it. They'll eat anything from raw chicken to like toads or lizards, and obviously the frozen mice that you will see. You could even feed them fish, salmon, things like that, and they take it down like crazy. They even sometimes see more enthusiasm towards newer food items, so you don't always have to buy the frozen mice at the store. With that said, it is going to be a little expensive if you get multiple of them, because they do eat every 3 to 4 days on average. I actually have Winston eating right behind me. I don't think you can see it in the frame, to be honest, but I'll have some B-roll of me feeding him some raw chicken. I had mistakenly fed him a really large piece earlier, so it took him a few minutes to get it down, but now he's perfectly fine. If you start with a ball python, you will notice that sometimes they get very picky about their food, and sometimes they refuse to eat unless it is a live mouse, or just they refuse to eat for any reason. It could be because they're going into shed, or just because they're feeling moody. Sometimes ball pythons will go up to 3 or 4 months without eating. But false water cobras, I have only ever seen him turn down food when he's either getting colder, like during the cold months. The only other time that I've seen him not eat is when he was shedding. I think another great thing to note about caring for a false water cobra is another comment that I'm going to go over. This is the last one that I'm going to include in the video, just because I had around 20, and I don't really feel like spending 15 minutes explaining every single comment that I had. This one says, some people just have a natural talent for handling animals and learn quickly through trial and error, while others just freak out with the smallest change or become paranoid with handling if bitten. This includes people freaking out thinking their snake is going blind when their eyes are blue, which means absolutely no research. This is just another comment that I thought I should highlight because it emphasizes the research. They're not your typical snake, but I'm not trying to turn you off to them. They're a wonderful snake to have. I love having him and caring for him. He's a blast. And even for more reasons that I haven't put in this video, while they may be the most stubborn snakes, they're still the most fun, the most interesting, and they're really intelligent. If you check out the behaviorisms of a false water cobra against like a ball python, they are wildly different, and it's just a lot of fun. So if I helped at all in making a decision about a false water cobra, or I may have started an interest in false water cobras, be sure to let me know. Feel free to like and subscribe, hang out for the next video, as I said in my last one. If you want to find out where else you can find me, feel free to go to the description, where you can find all my social media and other information. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.